Hey everybody, I'm John Granado. That's Josh Jordan. You can hear us on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. You can also see Josh's work at sportsmaphouston.com. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet to get all of our content here at SportsMap HOU. Hey Josh, over the past few days, there's been a lot of smoke about the Texans not taking a quarterback with the number 2 pick. You're not buying it.
I'm just not. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. We remember when the coaching candidates were being interviewed, the report from ESPN that people were told they plan on taking a quarterback at number 2 overall. We've also heard the McNairs, they took more control of the interviewing process with coaches. And I bet if you asked the McNairs, they'd say that worked. They did better getting D'Amico than Caserio did getting Cully or anybody else. I think they're going to lean into that. And Caserio said at that presser after they fired Lovey, he was going to listen to more people, that it was going to be more of a collaborative process. So I just think with the McNairs, they're going to be like, get us that quarterback at number 2, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Listen, they've got to make a splash. They did with D'Amico. They did a nice job. It would be a huge letdown for this fan base if you didn't draft a quarterback, even if it is C.J. Stroud. He has his detractors, obviously. There's a chance that he is possibly Jadeveon Clowney. He had that one huge game against Georgia, just like Clowney had against Michigan. And that you're going to reach for a quarterback. But with the era of good feelings that we are having right now with this Texans team, with the hiring of D'Amico and some of the free agent signings that we haven't seen Caserio make before, that this team is on a roll. And I think it would be quite a letdown if you didn't draft a quarterback with number 2. I'm with you. I think they're going to take a quarterback. If they don't, I'm telling then Cal is saying, let's go long term. And I'm not against it. I'm not opposed to it. That we don't think that that's a franchise guy and we're going to take a defensive player or we're going to trade back and get another guy, whatever the case may be, then I would like that more in the organization. I would laud the organization for not just being knee-jerk and taking a quarterback just because that's what the fan base wants.
Well, you don't want to take a guy just because he has quarterback next to his name. You got to think that guy can help you and turn into be a great player. And if we look at most of these draft prognosticators, all the Lance Zierleins of the world, all these guys, they like C.J. Stroud, Daniel Jeremiah. Yeah. They think there's a fall-off between him and the next group of quarterbacks at Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. So if the Texans agree with that assessment and they think he could be a good player, then go for it. Let's take a swing on quarterback. I mean, think about it, John, with David Carr and Deshaun Watson, that's all they've really swung at quarterback in the first round in the history of this organization. So if they like this guy, I'm sure the McNairs are going to be like, pull the trigger. Let's see what we got here.
It'll be interesting to see. John McClain tweeted out today that Nick Caserio isn't going anywhere, despite all the rumors that they're going to get rid of him right after the draft. If that doesn't happen, he's at least on the hot seat.
I'm not so sure. And the reason I say that is based on what I laid out a little earlier. If it's more of a collaborative draft this year, and some of these picks don't work out, that D'Amico blessed and that the McNairs blessed, then everybody's kind of accountable for those picks. I'm not sure Nick's going to take all the bullets if he finally says, okay, I'm going to make it more of a group effort, and then it doesn't pan out. I don't know if you can blame that on Nick.
No, I know that it's more collaborative, but he's still general manager. He's still an Easterby guy. He's a guy that was at the podium after last year who was pretty contrite and actually as humble as we've ever seen him before. I think he got a talking to. I think the talking to was, you better start winning. And this team needs to start winning now. It does. It needs to at least take a nice jump. And if it doesn't take a nice jump, then I think Nick is going to be, even if it's not his fault, he is going to be the guy that is going to have to fall on the sword.
Yeah, and it might be for more personal reasons, the way they interact with each other, the stuff we're just not privy to. But, you follow the money, right? I'm sure they're not happy that they're paying D'Amico and they're paying Cully and they're paying Lovie Smith. And the Josh McCown thing is kind of what put them in that mess, to where they were getting the national media, calling them out for, firing African-American coaches after 1 year. Fair or not, that was the perception in the national media. The McNairs, they don't care for that at all. So no. I think if he goes, it won't necessarily be who he drafts this year. I think it's going to be about something else.
Well, it might be who he drafted last year,
Yes.
too. Let's not forget Stingley is not Sauce Gardner, and Kenyon Green is not a pass protector. We've seen that. So those were two huge picks that this organization needed. So they better step up this year as well. If they do step up, then that takes a little bit of heat off of him. If they don't, then he's still got that to live with. And those were his picks, and they better start to play. Otherwise, I think, Nick, there's a chance if they don't win. Plus, you don't know if how much power D'Amico has that he wants to bring somebody over from San Francisco over to move in as the new general manager. So there's that aspect as well. I think for sure Nick Caserio's on the hot seat this year.
Yeah, and the Davis Mills pick doesn't help him either. You can say what you want, it's a third-round pick, but Nick obviously liked him enough to take him with the first pick they had in that draft. And that might be part of the reason they're handcuffing him a little bit with this number 2 overall pick this year.
Absolutely.